Hello, everyone. Today, we're breaking down the April 2026 real estate market stats across Simcoe County, and we're going to go a little deeper than usual.
We'll be walking through the overall numbers first, then break things down by area, because what's happening in each market can look a little different depending on which area you are in.
I'm Matt Young.
And I am Michael Stewart Webb at Webb and Young Group, Remax Hallmark Che Realty.
And this is the Real Estate Roundtable. Let's start with the big picture. In April, the average sale price across Simcoe County was $733,664. That's up about 2.5% compared to March, but still down 7.9% compared to April of last year.
The median price came in at $689,450. That's also up month over month by about 2.1%, but down roughly 6.5% year over year. So we're seeing a similar trend there as well.
So when we actually look at activity, there were 638 sales in April. That's a pretty solid jump of 16.6% compared to March, but it's essentially flat when you compare it to April of last year.
So what this really tells us is that the market is improving month over month, but we're still playing catch up compared to where we were at this time last year.
You know what? That's typical for this time of year. Buyers usually come back into the market first. Activity starts to increase, and then pricing tends to follow after that.
So now let's make it a little bit more local, starting with the Oro-Medonte. The average price in April was $862,333, which is down quite a bit, 20.5% from March, but only down 1.9% as compared to the same time last year.
And that the median price, it also dropped quite significantly. It's down 30.8% month over month and 11.5% year over year. So on paper, those numbers do look pretty dramatic.
But at this time, sales were actually strong. There were 26% more sales compared to March, and sales were up 33% as compared to last year.
And this is where context really matters. So Oro-Medonte, as we know, is a low volume market. So you might see somewhere between 20 to 25 sales in a month.
When you have numbers that small, the type of homes that sell can really move the stats. So if you have a few high-end properties selling one month and not the next, it can make things look like prices have dropped rather significantly.
So this isn't a 20 to 30% price drop in home values. It's more of a reflection of what sold in that particular month. Now, if we shift into Barrie, the story becomes much more stable. So the average price in Barrie for sales was $658,258, which is basically flat compared to March, but still down about 8.4% year over year.
Yeah, the median price tells a similar story. It's essentially a flat month over month and down about 6.4% compared to last year.
Sales were up slightly, though, compared to March, but still down year over year. So overall, Barrie is showing a pretty balanced and steady market.
Yeah, you're not seeing big swings here. It's more consistent activity, which is what you'd expect in a larger, more stable market environment.
So now let's go a little bit south and look at Innisfil. And then we'll go a little bit north, look at Orillia, Essa, and we're seeing very similar patterns across all three of those communities as well.
Yeah, prices are slightly up month over month, but still down compared to last year. And sales are improving, just not where we were in, say, 2025.
So these markets are what we'd call steady. They're not volatile. They're not surging, but they are gradually improving as more buyers come back into the market.
Yeah, Springwater is where things start to look a little more dramatic. However, the price jumped 17.7% compared to March, but it's still down 14.6% year over year.
So the median price actually increased over 16% month over month and is up about 9% compared to last year, which looks strong on paper.
But at the same time, sales were down over 30% compared to March, which tells you there were fewer transactions overall.
And again, this comes down to volume. In smaller, more rural markets like Springwater, fewer sales combined with higher end homes can create a bigger swing in the numbers.
So this isn't necessarily a surge in the market. It's more a reflection of the mix of properties that sold in April.
Clearview is probably the most extreme example of this over the last month. The average price dropped nearly 40% compared to March and about 32% year over year.
But at the same time, sales were actually up significantly, around 150% compared to March.
So again, this isn't a major price correction. It's a small sample size creating big swings in the data.
When you only have 10 to 15 sales in a month, the numbers are going to fluctuate quite a bit and skew the data. So you really have to look at the long-term trends in markets like this.
Now let's look at Wasaga Beach. So the average price was just under $650,000, which is down 4.5% compared to March and down 7.9% year over year.
But sales were up over 30% month over month. So activity is definitely picking up.
So again, what this tells us is that buyers are coming back to the market, but they're still being cautious when it comes to pricing.
So when we zoom out and look at everything together, the trend is pretty clear.
Yeah, so sales are increasing month over month, which is great. Inventory is still rising, however, and prices are still sitting below where they were last year.
And probably the most significant takeaway is that the smaller the market, the more these numbers are going to fluctuate.
So right now we're in that window where buyers are coming back, sellers are listing once again, but pricing hasn't fully adjusted yet.
And if we can see changes in interest rates or continued increases in inventory, this market could shift fairly quickly.
So if you have any questions about your specific area or your specific property,
or if you just want to try and understand what all of this means for you,
as always, feel free to reach out anytime.
We are always happy to help.
And I know you're super excited about this. We will see you with the next episode of the Real Estate Roundtable coming soon.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.